Alright, the longsword, the beloved weapon of weeaboos and Rise veterans everywhere. This weapon has a bit of a reputation, so much so that the majority of the fanbase not so affectionately refers to it as the tripstick. It is easily one of the most popular weapons in the newer generation of games, with longsword players making up roughly 15 to 20% of the player base in the first 2 weeks of the game's release. Now, 15 to 20%, when you hear that number, it doesn't sound like a lot, until you remember there are 14 different weapons in this game. If given a percent, each weapon should have about 7.1% of the popularity, making longsword over twice as popular as other weapons should be, followed by dual blades at 12% and greatsword at 11%. But why? Why is the longsword so popular? I believe there are 2 reasons. First, the weapon is cool. If you like anime and want to do cool anime sword stuff, the weapon fulfills that pretty well. And second, it's widely considered to be OP, one of the strongest weapons in the game and all that. The weapon feels good to play once you get the hang of it, and many people find that counter playstyle to be very satisfying. The weapon is much more efficiently played as a slower, more strategic weapon, watching the monster's movements and letting your attacks linger in case you need to counter or evade. Personally, I believe that the longsword is a well-balanced weapon in this game, and it doesn't really feel any stronger than any of the other weapons. Alright, enough about the weapon's backstory. This guide will be broken up into 5 parts, just like the last one about the greatsword, finishing off with a demonstration of the weapon against a Chatacabra with basic equipment. We'll start simple and work our way through all the little bits of how this weapon works. I have a lot of experience with longsword, but I'm not perfect. If I say something wrong or miss an important detail, please let me know in the comments. Without further ado, let's get on to part 1. For this guide, I'm going to refer to this as the slash combo. The combo will begin with 2 individual overhead slices, followed by an upward diagonal attack. This combo is very basic and is mostly used to either build up your spirit gauge or to draw your weapon. It has limited technical use and is just there for damage. For now. I will refer to this as the poke combo for this guide. The first attack is a stab, which can then be followed up by an upward swipe. Using it after a slash combo attack will also perform the upward slice. The stab attack is very useful, as you can use it to quickly activate your Foresight slash. I'll explain that later. These attacks are called the Spirit Blade combo. They will drain your spirit gauge in exchange for leveling it up if you manage to complete the combo. The combo goes Spirit Blade 1, Spirit Blade 2, Spirit Blade 3, and finally Spirit Round Slash. Landing Spirit Round Slash on a monster, or a monster's corpse if you're desperate, will increase your spirit level. Holding the button after any other attack will begin a Spirit Charge. Once full, releasing the button will instantly perform a Spirit Round Slash. This move is very useful as it does not cost spirit gauge to perform and will in fact charge your spirit. Also, if you just barely don't have enough spirit gauge left to perform a round slash, but you've already used Spirit Blade 3, you can use Spirit Charge to squeak out an instant round slash even though you didn't quite have enough gauge for it. Alright, now we're getting into some more confusing stuff. This is called the Fade Slash. It is a slower move that will reposition you either backwards with no inputs or to either side if you move the stick in that direction. This attack is really useful because it gives you a lot of spirit gauge and allows you to follow it up with a spirit combo attack that starts you at Spirit Blade 3. Okay, now we're getting really complicated. This is the Foresight Slash, one of the 2 counter moves that the longsword has access to. I debated whether or not to put this alongside Special Sheath, the other counter move, but thinking about it, Special Sheath is gonna need its own category. Using Foresight Slash will completely drain your spirit gauge and cannot be properly used without your gauge having at least something in it, but this will rarely be a problem. It just means you can't spam it. If you use Foresight Slash and an attack hits you, you will take no damage and activate its next effect. Landing the follow-up after activating Foresight Slash will completely fill your spirit gauge, and pressing the Spirit Combo button will allow you to instantly perform the Spirit Round Slash, leveling up your spirit gauge.
But damn, spirit gauge, spirit level, what does this even mean?
The longsword's special feature is called the spirit gauge. Yes, it's the thing I've been talking about this whole time. I keep bringing it up. The spirit gauge, spirit level, spirit blah 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 blah. The gauge is represented by a long sword icon in the top left corner of your screen. No, not a long sword icon. A long sword icon. As you attack a monster using your slash or poke combo, or a corpse if you're desperate, again, the bar will begin to fill. Leveling up the spirit gauge using spirit round slash or EI spirit slash, we haven't talked about this yet, hang on, will increase the damage that you deal. White gauge gives you a 2% damage bonus, yellow gauge gives 4%, and red gauge gives 10%. While on red gauge, however, your basic moveset will change, making your slash combo more powerful and flashy, and improving your Foresight slash into Foresight whirl slash. It makes your slash combo so powerful, in fact, that the current meta for longsword DPS is to get into red gauge and spam Y and right trigger back and forth until you run out of red gauge. At which point, you've likely created a wound that you can focus strike to get back up to red gauge. While you're on red gauge, your spirit gauge becomes like a timer. Your spirit combo will not drain your spirit gauge, but your Foresight whirl slash will take chunks out of it. You can restore a small amount of the timer by performing a spirit round slash or by executing a perfectly timed EI spirit slash. Calm down, we will get there. Your spirit gauge level can be lowered in two ways. Either one, you let the outline around the sword empty completely and it returns to its previous level, or two, you use the spirit thrust plus Helm breaker. This attack has had a serious glow up from the past couple of games. Don't get me wrong, it was still good in those games, but for World it was barely worth it, and for Rise you just had so many better options for switch skills, it just didn't matter. This game though? Oh man, this attack feels good to land. After using any other attack, and if you have at least one level of spirit gauge, pressing your spirit blade and slash combo buttons at the same time will activate spirit thrust. If the thrust lands, you'll jump up into the air and slam your blade back down, dealing delayed anime damage to the monster. But do you want to deal more anime damage to the monster? If you had a red spirit gauge when you used the spirit thrust, just keep spamming your spirit blade button to follow up with several waves of little slashes that will fill your screen with numbers. Using the Helm breaker will consume almost all of your spirit gauge levels though, leaving you with only white gauge if you had red when you started. However, being a rapidly hitting attack, that likely opened some wounds, which you can then use to easily get back up to red gauge and repeat the process again. Alright, I suppose it's finally time to talk about the thing that everyone uses in all the montages and stuff. And I'm of course talking about the... This is the move. This is the one that you see everywhere. It's a classic anime trope. You see an attack coming from an opponent, but instead of blocking or evading, the hero sheaths their sword, resting their hand on the hilt until the very last moment. Then, there's a flash, and suddenly the characters stand facing away from each other, and the opponent falls to the ground. That's what this is. It's extremely cool, if a little cheesy. After using any other attack, press both your spirit blade and dodge buttons at the same time. Your character will slide back a bit and sheath their weapon. You are unable to move while in this stance, but you can use focus mode to aim, and you can roll to cancel it. While in your special sheath stance, you actually have two attack options. Pressing your slash combo button will perform EI slash. This is an advancing 2-hit combo that begins a natural regeneration for your spirit gauge. It's honestly a really good move to use whenever you can, as the regeneration is very helpful to squeeze out that last couple spirit blade attacks and level up your gauge. Pressing your spirit blade button, however, will do the thing. This is called the EI Spirit Slash. It's a move that gives you approximately 0.2 seconds of invincibility, and if you time an attack to hit you while that invincibility is active, this happens. Now, obviously this is a lot cooler against a real monster that will actually react to your attack, but still, it's really cool. Not only does it deal significant damage, but it will also raise the level of your spirit gauge if done successfully, and replenish some of your red gauge if you have it. It's a very flashy move with a heavy risk-reward feeling. The timing is pretty tight, and if you mistime it, you'll be left extremely vulnerable for a few seconds. If you don't get hit by whatever you were trying to counter, that is. You can also follow up a successful EI counter with a Helm breaker. Alright, now that I've gone over everything I can think of, I'll be hunting a low-rank Chupacabra using the starting equipment, just to show you what the longsword looks like in action. Keep in mind once again that I'm not an expert, but I have dabbled with it throughout my time playing World, Rise, and Wilds. This is also a very good time for me to mention anything that I happened to miss before, so hopefully I haven't forgotten anything, and anything I have forgotten I say while I'm playing. Okay, hello, we're switching over to live commentary now, just so you can kind of tell what I'm thinking. I'm going to try to think out loud. I do have reframework installed in the top left there. I do have an overlay mod that shows HP and like monster part stuff and build-ups and all that, but I'm not using that for now. I just use it to test some stuff. Mostly why I have reframework is because it disables de novo, and that makes it so that it doesn't tank your game's performance. Whenever you start a fight, you always want to get the sneak attack. You just walk up behind and press B or circle or M2 or whatever. As I'm going here, Chupacabra will always do this little baby roar that doesn't actually stagger you, so good opportunity to get some gauge progress. And I'm honestly just gonna build up gauge. You're not gonna stop me or anything? Okay. Yep, there's a counter. There's one of those. There's a wound punish. And that will also usually knock them down if you break a wound. And now that I've got red, I'm just kind of doing that same right trigger Y back and forth. No, I thought I could get that off. Wait. Yep, there it is. God, that was really close. This is so weird. I'm used to having quick sheath on my builds, so not having it just feels weird. Oh, there we go. I'm back down to yellow, so I'm gonna poke him. And give me that wound. There it is. Oh, maybe I should show the riding attack. I showed it at the beginning. If you go back to the beginning, that attack where I jumped off the monster and sheathed the sword and everything, that was the riding attack, so... leave me alone. Leave me alone for a sec. I said leave me alone for a sec. I'm sharpening. What are you doing? What are you doing, huh? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Come on, do it. Oh, you stupid idiot. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Alright, dead. No, not dead. Okay. Come on, come back here. Come back, come back, come back. I want to get you. Alright, whatever. It's fine. I'm kind of like scrambling over my brain goes like a million miles a minute. So it's hard for me to think out loud because I'm just thinking so fast and every thought keeps overriding the last one. And give me this, and it's dead. Yep. Yeah. I don't need to gather this. I'm f***ing rich. Alright, now that you know how to play longsword, I want to leave you with two more little pieces of advice regarding skills. First of all, run quick sheath and critical draw. Both of those skills affect the special sheath, making it even better and easier to pull off. Lastly, if you're going to play multiplayer, equip the shock absorber skill as soon as you get it. Nobody likes being tripped, and as the tripper, it is your responsibility to prevent that. No, your build is not going to completely crumble to dust because you have to take out one of your defense boost 1 jewels. Grow up. I suppose that's all I have for today, so get on out there, do your anime counters, and most importantly, with shock absorber equipped, god damn it.